Welcome, everyone. First episode ever of the BRB podcast. It has been a couple months not running, but a couple month thought. It was something that Tony and I kind of chatted about one time. Obviously, for anybody that doesn't watch the videos or doesn't watch the YouTube channel or see it on Facebook, anything like that, but BRB, Black River Boyz, is basically an all-around outdoor YouTube channel. We do everything from fishing, hunting, camping, trips out. We've gone out west, different groups. We're stationed here out of Wisconsin, which makes it kind of obviously a Midwest vibe, but we're starting a podcast now. We wanted to, the videos only show so much. With the editing and everything, you're trying to make it if it's a 10-minute video, a 15-minute video, whatever it is, obviously trying to make it as, upbeat and showing you pretty much all the good stuff and making it most entertaining. So we figured starting a podcast, getting some more of almost the behind the scenes stuff would be kind of a cool idea. And, we've had some big trips, small stuff, fishing, hunting, two big ones. Tony and his friends all went up to Yellowstone on a camping trip. We went out to Colorado 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, in 2020, we went out there Colorado elk hunting. And the videos, we try to do pretty in-depth stuff with some of the bigger trips, but there's still a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff that we never really got to chat about or showed. And so the podcast is really kind of going to be a behind-the-scenes and more of a detailed look at a bunch of our different trips. So we've got some different topics here that for the first one that we're going to start covering, but kind of going to be just an intro podcast here to the beginning of BRB. Tony and I, kind of our starts on kind of where we started with a lot of the outdoor stuff, and we're in it for the ride here. So sit back, and podcast number 1 coming at you.
Yep. Hey everybody, my name is Tony, as Hunter mentioned, but I kind of created Black River Boyz almost 3 years ago, almost. Kind of all started out of college, actually. I only did 1 year at Stevens Point, but kind of got away from all of the outdoor activity. I was in sports heavily, and went up to Stevens Point for school. I was actually nursing, but as I was in school there, it was more up north, and just started going on hikes and stuff like that around campus and taking photos. Kind of got really into photography, and I was mostly just using my phone and recording videos of wildlife and stuff like that. And my older brother, Nick, you guys have definitely seen him in some of the vlogs. If you guys are already subscribers to the channel, and if you guys are new, definitely go check those out right away, if this podcast is the first thing you guys are listening to. But he started picking me up because I was living a lot closer to my grandparents in Black River Falls, hence the name. And he kind of got me back into the outdoors, whether it was mostly hunting, just because we were doing a lot of waterfowl and deer hunting. He got me back into that, and we got a lot closer with that. And I kind of just fell in love with that stuff again, along with the photography aspect. And I was watching a lot of Peter McKinnon and getting a lot of different ideas with B-roll and stuff like that you guys have seen in some of the videos. But that's kind of like where Black River Boyz stemmed from. Started recording my brother on his hunts with his buddies, and just kind of kicked off from there.
Yeah, just kind of a little tidbit. If you picture Wisconsin as, kind of a state, we're located way down in southeastern Wisconsin. Black River Falls is northwestern Wisconsin, so probably a 6-hour drive up there?
No, you're probably thinking of River drive? Falls. It's only 3.5. It's an hour south of Eau Claire.
Okay.
But it's not horrible. It's an hour past the Dells. If you guys are going, I think it's 94 northwest. But
I drive by it going to work. I see the signs for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you're going up and you get the split between La Crosse and Black River Falls, you just keep going straight on 94.
Awesome. Yeah, for me, I've been hunting, fishing, Pretty much doing everything outdoors my whole life. Grew up in a family. My dad, grandpa, uncles, everything has been big into the outdoors, especially with hunting. And then the other side is a little bit more into fishing. So kind of got an all around experience and trips, and that's pretty much what I grew up doing in my spare time and still do. So kind of nice to, I started actually filming my hunts. Started with a GoPro in, I bought my first GoPro probably 8 years ago, and just loved, originally I didn't even have an idea of putting it on YouTube, doing anything like that. It was more for myself. If I, had a doe or I had a buck or anything, even if I didn't shoot, I liked to, I'd turn the GoPro on, I had it mounted to my bow, and just liked filming it and going back and showing my dad. And it's just, even now I pull up the old videos from, 6-7 years ago, and it's like, oh, I remember the exact spot, and you even see the landscape change, and, if I'm filming over a food plot or something, and how much different it looks now than it did then. But yeah, it was a, it was a start to it. I even, Tony and I were just talking before about, I started a YouTube channel. I still have it. I have like 4 videos on it. I never really did anything with it, but my whole beginning idea was to film my hunts, to do the intros, to do the the kill shots, everything like that, and make them into YouTube videos. And what I sort of noticed was, for one, I hate being behind the camera. I'm still, it's still something new to me. It's not, it's not something that we do for a living or anything like that. So being behind the camera, looking at the lens, being, you're by yourself half the time, and it still makes it uncomfortable. But I've got, tons of videos of hunts and fishing and stuff, and the intros and the updates from hunting and stuff. And I've just never been comfortable. So I think I just look stupid behind the camera. I feel like that's a huge part of it. But the amount of, for anybody that doesn't do anything with videos or anything like that, the amount of editing that you do, and especially if you want to make a decent video, you've got to have a talent and a knack for it. You helped me the one time when just a video game video, like last year or 2 years ago, and I spent probably 6 hours on it, and it is trash. Like, it is horrible. So being able, and I want to get even myself a little more like some of the solo hunts and stuff that I do film and stuff, but getting more comfortable with the intros and stuff, and letting Tony do the editing and stuff, that he's definitely a lot, you've seen the videos, he does a fantastic job. But then I went to college down in Milwaukee, so down in the city, and definitely took a lot of time away from bow hunting and fishing and stuff like that when I went there for 4 years. Everything up here is more of a rural area, so you got to drive. After this podcast, we're literally driving a minute down the road and going fishing on a pond. So a lot easier to do stuff like that up here. But got back into it. I've never really stopped the filming of the hunts or anything like that, but started working at Cabela's. 2019 it was. 2018 or 2019, I started working at Cabela's in the archery department, and then really had a knack for that. Spent almost 4 years there. That's where Tony and I met. He'll fill you in on kind of his portion of it, but stuck with the outdoors. Knew I wanted to do something with the outdoors. Worked there for 3.5 years, and then this past fall I left there. I work from home for a company called Faradyne. If you don't know what Faradyne Outdoors is, they own a lot of the major industry brands for archery, such as Rage, Muzzy, stuff like that. So stuck with the outdoor industry, which makes it a lot easier, and just keeps my knack of staying in the outdoors, keeps going. So, but yeah, let Tony kind of fill you in on his side of working at Cabela's and kind of how we met and got myself into this.
Yeah. So definitely kind of all started after college. Left Stevens Point. I was actually going to a tech school when I started working at Cabela's, and I want to say you had to start working there in 2018 because I started October of 2019. I'm pretty sure, because I was working at some golf course, and I ended up just walking into Cabela's looking for a life vest, and I saw the walk-in interviews, and interviewed there, and I was already in the mindset of like, this is the type of atmosphere I want to be in for work, and just kind of like obviously that outdoor experience. So I walked in, interviewed, and then 10 days later I was working, and got into the camping department, and I want to say for like the first year I was probably working there, at least 6 months, I kind of just like kept to myself. I mean, I worked in the department and obviously like talked to a lot of those my coworkers there, but I don't even know when we, like the first time you, me, and Sam met was kind of like.
I honestly don't even know. I feel like. So Sam, who's one of the BRB members, you'll probably see him in a bunch of the podcasts.
Yeah.
He just started his own podcast as well, but him and I were leads at the time. So basically we were the person that we were on the floor, but kind of like the day-to-day stuff was getting taken care of. Sam and I met, I want to say first.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I don't want to, like, we weren't like super close at the time, but more of just like kind of work buddies, stuff like that. And then I think it was more of the times of like when I started helping in camping and.
Yeah, that definitely, that reminds me, yeah. Because you became the lead of camping for a while. That was actually probably right after I got out of that tech school, because I think you were already the lead of camping, and then I switched to full time.
Yeah,
and you were already the lead, and then pretty much just working with him, and then.
It honestly wasn't even. It wasn't like a long, it wasn't like over a year we worked together before we started filming videos and stuff like that. I mean, it was, 8 months maybe from the time we like really met to the time we were in Colorado hunting.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it wasn't something that we, that was like one of the biggest things we did, or one of the first things we did was out there.
And I think it might have been too, like, because every time I post a video, I put it on Facebook, and I want to say that you're the one that shared it with.
With Jeff.
Jeff, yes. Jeff in the boats department, and that kicked it off even more, because I don't even know if I was doing a lot of outdoor videos already, because when I first started the channel, I just was happy to have a camera. Like I bought a GoPro, and I just started recording. We went up camping in Door County, recorded that with the GoPro, and I was like instantly hooked, and I was just like saving up money, and the camera that I have now, I was just like constantly looking at reviews on it, and seeing the quality of it. And I mean, it took me a year, but basically a year later I bought the camera, and then I started kind of.
You're doing photography.
Yeah, I was doing photos of nature, of cars. My parents got a new vehicle, so I was doing photos of that. Just anything that I could do, I was taking photos of, and I was just doing like everyday vlogs that kind of were just super random. And I knew like I didn't want to just keep doing like random photography stuff, and I knew that we were in that hunting atmosphere, and at the beginning it was mostly just kind of following my brother around on hunts, because I didn't even have my hunter safety, a shotgun, a bow. I barely even had a fishing pole at the time, so I was just kind of following him around using his gear and recording them.
And you came out quick with it. I mean, you like, if you like, just picture the amount of stuff you have.
Yeah.
Or, like, not even the stuff you have, but the stuff you've done.
Yeah.
Like everything I have is, I'm 25, is 10 years worth of me, like, my dad getting me stuff starting, and like now buying my own stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously you've bought your own stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
in the time that you've went from hardly doing anything outdoors to now you've got a bow, a shotgun, gone on trips, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely a big part of it. Was obviously you watch other YouTubers, and everything that I get from the ones I watch is just go out and do it. Don't it's fun watching the videos and stuff like that, but it's way more exciting actually grabbing your buddies and getting out there and doing it yourself. And that's like the whole, if Black River Boyz is anything, it's literally just like me trying to like get my brother back out hunting, because I know he wasn't really doing it that much, even though he was trying to get me into it. And then obviously like a lot of the guys that are a part of the channel, like they already were doing that stuff, and I just was kind of like, hey, I got a camera and you guys already do all this stuff, so let's do something together with that. So and honestly, like with our trip with Yellowstone and Colorado, granted I'm only 22, but some of the best memories, unforgettable memories that I'll ever have, and I'm so grateful that I bought that camera and we were able get it all on film.
I mean, that was literally the reason, like the original reason why Tony came on the Colorado trip is it was Dom. If you've seen the videos, you know Dom. I want to say that's the only videos he's been a part of.
Yeah.
But Dom and I, he worked in archery with me. And that's where him and I met, and we had this great idea of going elk hunting, and a lot of that stemmed from watching different YouTube channels like Born and Raised Outdoors, Hush. Those are two of the big ones that I follow and I watch, and I've watched them for years. And it just came something that I was like, dang, like start looking into it. It's like, okay, this, it's going to cost a good amount of money up front, but once you get the stuff you need, especially for us being in the Midwest, I mean, if I want to go hunting, literally private land, public land, you don't need much.
Yeah.
I mean, you can fill a backpack and you can go out there and do it. Whereas going out there, I mean, we had months of we trained, we had months of planning, what we need, watching gear reviews, looking up forums and stuff, trying to figure out what we all need for the weather and all that other stuff. And Dom and I were kind of tickling the idea of going, but it wasn't, it wasn't something set that we were like, okay, we're for sure going in, this fall, something like that.
Yeah.
And then Dom and I finally kind of committed, like, hey, let's get out there and let's just do it. And then I was like, okay, I don't even know if I'd been in many videos before that.
I think you and Sam were just in, because the first video you were in, I think Sam was in too, and I think it was a fishing video, and we were just fishing that small pond.
Probably.
I think that was the first one. I have to go back and look, but
that might have been. But I was talking to Dom, and I was like, going out there with two people that have absolutely zero clue what we're doing. Obviously, even if we're bringing other people that have never done it, still having the bodies there, and so we were trying to figure out who else can come and who else to invite and stuff. And finally, I was like, why don't we invite Tony? Obviously, he's getting into the outdoors, and by that time he had been doing other stuff already. But we thought it'd be cool to, especially for our first archery, going out to Colorado for that, we thought it'd be cool to invite him and him able to document it, and that ended up being one of the more successful kind of YouTube series that we've done so far.
Definitely.
But that kind of like stemmed the whole like. Dom, obviously, like I said, he hasn't been in much, but that kind of almost got me more into like, hey, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's fun. Like I said, it's still awkward being behind a camera, but it's every so often I still pull it up like, as memories, and that's like one of the biggest things is the memories.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, even after Yellowstone, because we went to Yellowstone with like my buddies and my brother, and again, if you guys haven't watched that series already, go give it a watch. A lot of fun stuff. That was actually like the first vlog style that we did, like with a group of guys. Otherwise, I think before that it was just a couple gear reviews. And to go back to kind of what you were saying before with, I know we were kind of getting off on a tangent with the trips and stuff like that, but back to like Cabela's. I think the second I started working there, actually I don't think I spent a dime of my paycheck there the first like 6 months, and then like I don't know what it was, but a light switched on, and I probably bought like $4 or $5 grand worth of stuff there in the span of like 6-7 months, because we were going to Yellowstone and working there. Like I'm asking questions, and that might have been even more of kind of how we met, and like kind of meeting other people and stuff like that, but like asking other outfitters questions, because we obviously have like departments of camping, hunting, archery, and stuff like that, and just figuring out what other people working there, like if they've gone out to Yellowstone and what to expect. And I learned a ton of stuff about that, and I haven't even been, I think Yellowstone was really like my first camping trip ever. Maybe it was like my second or third, but just buying tons of gear, doing lots of different like research, and granted, there's only so many products at Cabela's. Like there's obviously like the real high-end stuff out there. So, but just spending a ton of money and just getting a lot of information from other outfitters and stuff like that on what to expect, what to bring.
And customers.
Definitely customers. When you start talking to a customer, and like if they're looking for I know a couple, they were like looking for a cooler, and we're like, yeah, we're going out to Yellowstone. I'm like, oh really? I'm going out to Yellowstone in 2 months. And they've already been there multiple times, and then you have a whole conversation and stuff like that. So that's like, I didn't go to Cabela's for that, but like I fell in love with working at Cabela's because of that, because all like the 2 years that I was working there, just tons of conversations like that. and just being able to get like other people's experience, and that's again kind of like what we're trying to do, like on video, like share that with you guys. But
Yeah, I think too, especially with I mean, I remember the one. So I first, I was working in archery, but I moved like I always was in archery until I became a manager over it. But the amount of people that you just start talking to, and I remember one specific person. I was helping in either working in hunting or helping in hunting in the optics counter and on rangefinders or spotting scopes or something like that. And you ask somebody, what are you going to be using for? Trying to pick and choose, trying to narrow it down a product on what better fits their needs. And he's like, oh, we go out to Colorado every year elk hunting with a bow, and I'm looking to get a new spotting scope or whatever it was. And I remember I was telling him like, it was in the beginning, but we're trying to plan our own trip out there, and ended up talking to him and getting areas, and it ended up being that the place we were kind of e-scouting ended up being super close to where he was going.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one I remember in camping, I think it was like Kotzer or something. It was those two gentlemen, if you remember that.
I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about.
I just remember two gentlemen coming in, and this was like, I mean, they were planning like 2 years in advance. Yes. Like, they went last year, and they only go every 3 years or something like that. And I remember them, they had 2 carts full of stuff, coolers, and they were looking at either cots or sleeping pads or something. But just, it definitely helped and gave us ideas. And obviously working at Cabela's, we pretty much stuck with a lot of the, either Cabela's name brand stuff or stuff we could get there, just because it made it a lot easier than buying something you can't touch or feel off of, a website or something. But so that definitely helped. But honestly, if it wasn't for, I mean, obviously, we were talking about this before too, but if it wasn't for Cabela's, you obviously would have all your friends, and you'd still be doing this, and maybe I'd see it on YouTube or Facebook or something like that through mutual friends. But without, if I didn't work at Cabela's or he didn't work at Cabela's or anything like that, even, it just.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't even, I mean, I may have gotten into it, like, who knows, but like, because of talking about like the price of things, but like because of how easy it was to get a tent and a cot and kind of get everything I needed or thought I needed, a lot of wants and stuff like that, but like everything I thought I needed, I wouldn't be going out camping or like going on those trips, because I mean, that stuff does add up. Like I said, I spent probably $4,000 or $5,000 on just tons of gear. But yeah, without Cabela's and like meeting not only all of the leads, because eventually, like, I think when I became a lead too, like, we got even a lot closer just because we were interacting with each other a lot more, not only with you, but like Sam and Savannah and everybody, but just kind of talking to them about fishing and hunting and going fishing with Hunter and Sam. But a lot of that, it definitely wouldn't happen without Cabela's. And two, not only that, but like I was still kind of getting into that, like the video, like the outdoor stuff, and without Hunter, I would not have gotten the gig with doing like the boat reviews for the guys at boats, and those definitely helped out the channel a ton, because like, I mean, obviously, like, boats are like super popular, and I'm pretty sure that I mean, not to start talking about Cabela's some more, but the Richfield Boat Center was like at least top 5 in the country for boat sales at the time. And not that the videos really helped with that, just because there was just a huge demand for it, but it's definitely something that they enjoyed, and same with me. I love editing the videos, and whether it's gear reviews or us out in Colorado or future videos to come.
Yeah, I think too, we'll kind of get into something different here with, instead of sticking on the same thing, but just talking about even, just friendship and meeting each other and different, there's now, I met Cody for the first time, 3 weeks ago, something like that, turkey hunting. So starting, to meet some of his other friends, went to your house then like 2 or 3 weeks after that, and then just saw Cody again. And so now, it's, it was, from the beginning, it was almost kind of like, Tony was with his friends, and then he was with us, and now we're kind of like all starting to kind of mesh together. And I'm assuming that especially this fall that should grow even more when we got waterfall season, especially waterfall season, getting out duck hunting and goose hunting and stuff. So that should definitely add up and bring out some some more connections and stuff like that, and get everyone together filming.
And that's another thing too, is like that's part of like the reason why we're doing this podcast is because like we have, I mean, Hunter's got a camera, but like I think everybody else in our group, I'm not gonna name them all because we're gonna hopefully have them on in future episodes, but and you guys have probably seen them in videos, but we only have my camera and Hunter's camera, and we're usually together when there's a video, and we're trying to get, if we can't get other guys kind of recording themselves, or even just like on GoPro, having them come on to our podcast and sharing their story of like what their hunt was like. And that's kind of part of why we started this podcast too, is to have those guys on as guests, because there's a ton of stuff that we don't have on video that are like, it should have been on video, like just some crazy stories and some fun stories and just some regular hunting experiences, but a lot of great stuff that just wasn't caught on camera, unfortunately. But hopefully, as our channel grows, we're able to kind of spread out our lenses and get some more guys to record some hunts.
Yeah, not only that too, but the almost like the realm of he's got everything that's caught on video, like even if you look at your Yellowstone trip or a Colorado trip, like those are the two big ones that were like multiple days. You're not going to remember everything, and we can look back and say, hey, you pull up the video, you're like, oh, I remember that now. And it's only that's the first one here. We're just kind of doing an introduction podcast. We've obviously gotten off on tangents a bunch, but just kind of keep not every week maybe, but we want to try and get each member in here, maybe a new member, a couple of them every week, or every time, not every week, but every podcast that we do, because each person's going to remember something different. From his Yellowstone trip, that's just from me watching the videos and stuff. There's like some crazy stuff that happened and went on and stuff, and and I even I've heard everything from, not everything, but I've heard the story from Tony, but then for me to be able to hear it from Bryce or from Nick or from whoever, to be able to hear their side of the story and stuff that maybe Tony wasn't there because he's picking up a car.
True.
But I think that, even that's cool for us, and obviously hopefully cool for you guys to be able to hear that and get different sides of the story, and even stuff that's not caught on camera. There's been years of him doing stuff and his friends doing stuff, and me and Sam, and I've been hunting and fishing, and a lot of stuff hasn't been caught on camera that'd be cool to talk about, and experiences with it, and some different stuff like that I think would be cool to kind of bring up and talk about. And it also leads to other stuff too. Just from Tony and I filming and doing stuff like that. Now we're trying to plan an archery range. It breaks off and leads to a bunch of different stuff. But
it's kind of crazy. Like I talk about this all the time with Hunter and even my brother, but like it's crazy to see how, like, granted it's been like almost 3 years now since I started the channel. But it's been like two and a half since I kind of went towards that outdoor realm. But it's kind of crazy to see like how far, and we're still in the beginning. But like I was filming with a GoPro, and now like we're going on group hunts, group trips. We're starting a podcast. I got a camera. I bought a drone thanks to Joe Biden on that and that stimulus check, but still got the 1-year warranty left. But so like a lot of that stuff, getting gear and just like having the channel grow, just not only gives me more like motivation to keep it going. Granted, I'd probably still keep it going because it's just a place to keep all of our memories, and with this podcast too, like kind of keeping a lot of those fun hunting stories alive, and in a place where you can just go back and rewatch these podcasts and be able to listen to those stories again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely brought out even a different side of stuff too, because you get a different perspective from it, or even just knowing the camera's on you. You either you say something different, you do something different. Like without thinking, it like changes like how your mind works. You know, even from like what pops in my head is just when we did the trap shooting a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, whatever it was. It changes what you do and how you do it. You know, not necessarily doesn't change you, but like, I don't know, it just brings out a different side of you sometimes that I think is kind of cool. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree, and to go maybe in a little bit of a different direction with that too is like seeing. Did I just stop?
Yeah.
Oh, did we even hit record? Oh God, it might have.
I'm gonna pause this. We're back.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. We thought we had a slight issue. The camera shut off, and I wasn't sure if I hit the record button. And we're 30 minutes into this thing, so luckily it was good. But
we're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Yeah, we just kind of obviously left it off on talking about the camera, what it does, and the trap shooting and stuff. But yeah, we kind of just want to transition that, kind of wrap this up, and kind of give you an idea of like what not our goals are, but kind of what the podcast will be about, and maybe a couple different topics and stuff to look forward to.
Yeah.
So yeah, just we haven't really planned on what we're going to do next time, or we don't have the specific podcast or anything laid out directly, but we've come up with some lists, and the list kind of consists of different trips that we've gone on.
Yep.
Obviously we talked about some of the bigger ones, but even we want to hit on some of the smaller ones, and waterfall hunting, deer hunting, turkey hunting. That's obviously fresh in our brains. We just finished that up.
Yep.
Probably get Cody on here because he's the only one that actually killed one, and he's got some crazy stories to go along with it. Obviously now it's June, middle of June already, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it is nuts.
But we got fishing coming up. Like I said, we're going to be going fishing here, and the second we're done here, we're going to wrap up and we're going to go hit a pond.
Yep.
But we're going to hit that stuff. Gear. I feel like gear reviews is another one we can kind of touch on.
Yeah.
Obviously, not necessarily how your channel started, but I feel like when I first kind of met you and talked about, you brought up your YouTube channel and stuff like that. That's kind of what you were doing mostly.
Yeah, it was definitely mostly gear reviews, because those actually, first of all, in the middle of the pandemic, I think me and my buddies, or the other guys that are in the group, it was Bryce, Jeremy, and Cody. I want to say Cody was there. The first one we did on freeze-dried meals. Had that up. There's no views.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
Freeze-dried meals were flying off the shelf. And then there was some weekend in February of, it had to have been it might have been 2021, but I'm sitting there on my phone because I was on a snowboarding trip in the UP, and I looked down, and that freeze-dried meal review got 1,000 views in 4 hours, because people were just which ones do I buy? Because obviously they care about the flavor and stuff like that, but they were just flying off the shelf at the time, and that definitely kind of blew up. But we've had tons of gear reviews on there. Obviously have a lot more plans for stuff.
Gear dumps, that's another one we want to do. That'll be obviously part of a video as well.
Yeah.
Especially, obviously, we've got deer hunting and waterfall. I feel like those are the two big ones that are coming up.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything for turkey, which we probably could have. Which we still could, but so deer hunting, waterfall, two of the big ones. Next year we are planning or starting to plan another Colorado trip, probably with the rifle this time. That'll be a really big one for the gear dump, and it'll be kind of cool too, because there's definitely stuff that I've realized, and especially after the first trip, that we all realized hey, we need to change this. This isn't working. So even to compare, we didn't do a gear dump the first time, but to compare what we used last time versus why we're changing it, what we're changing it to. So those will be kind of two of some of the cool ones. Ice fishing.
Yep.
We'll touch on, obviously we'll go in somewhere we'll have a topic on ice fishing, but got Tony out on the ice for the first time catching fish.
That was a blast.
And then I don't know where, obviously you got your first northern through the ice, but you had gone a bunch before that. This year, a couple different trips out to Big Cedar and Little Cedar and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Cramming that all in the Civic.
Oh yeah, that was fun. That's probably something else we'll talk about when we talk about ice fishing, or even like when we're ice fishing again. Once the weather gets colder here shortly. But yeah, I mean, we got a ton of exciting stuff going on. We have a lot of plans, like we said with the archery range, and just kind of got a lot of ideas, and this is just like another step of a big idea that we're just trying to actually like put into motion, just going out and doing it. So.
And just a tidbit too, if you have not had freeze-dried meals, especially some of the good, like the nicer ones, they are extremely good.
Yeah, they actually are very, very tasty, especially Peak Refuel. Highly recommend. There was a Fire Pop, and I'm pretty sure they were a very small company, and I'm pretty sure with COVID they went out of business, unfortunately.
Very possible. But, yeah, I remember, especially for those like coming back from Colorado, that was one thing we learned is we packed way too much stuff.
Yeah.
Like we filled my entire truck out there, and we probably could have had half,
quarter of it,
a third of it. Yeah. Like we took way too much stuff. But that was one thing I brought back freeze-dried meals, and I like not craved them.
Oh yeah.
But when we got back, I mean, I was literally boiling water and making those for dinner because I was like, I'm not letting, they can sit here for the next 3 years or whatever, but they're so good. I'm not letting these go to waste.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of what we got going for, some of our plans for the podcast. We've, we hit on some of the bigger topics in terms of the trips and stuff, but we'd like to go more in depth with those. Obviously, we'll probably time it a little more with, right now it's kind of the fishing season. Yeah. We've got deer hunting and waterfowl a little after that. So they'll probably play a little bit of role in that stuff. And obviously we've got some downtime till fall that we can hit on some of the other gear reviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But got a good list of different trips and different topics on what we like to do, and we just kind of want to dive deep into them.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. If you're still listening, 38 minutes in, but we appreciate it, and we're excited to get back to making another episode here soon.
Yeah, and if there's anything you want to hear, if we touch on a topic or we brought a topic up and we don't really get into it, if you want to hear about it or you want to know something specific or want us to dive into something, definitely let us know.
Yeah, and to do that, you can find our social media, obviously, is Black River Boyz on Instagram. We're on TikTok.
With a Z. Black River Boyz.
Yeah, Black River Boyz with a Z. We might throw that up on the video end of this podcast, but we are also on Facebook. Same thing, pretty much the same handle on all social media that we're on. But if you could DM us, go in the comments, do whatever you want to do. If you got any ideas or some suggestions, we're definitely open to them.
Open to them and excited.
Yep.
Should be a cool little series, but we're starting here. We're excited for it.
So we'll see you guys in the next podcast.